Large social gatherings that took place over the long Easter holiday weekend a concern to health officials. The country's vaccination campaign resumes tomorrow, and NIB extending its assistance program. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lissy Bastien. It's Tuesday, April 6th. It's great having you back with us. Last Easter, the country was on a complete lockdown to mitigate against the spread of what was then a novel coronavirus. This year, Bahamians and residents took advantage this holiday weekend that had no restrictions on movement like last year. And now those weekend activities are very concerning for authorities and health officials. Health Minister Renwood Wells spoke about the concerns with the media just before the cabinet meeting this morning. Our Laurencia Smith was there and files this report.
Off the heels of what he has labeled as a busy holiday weekend for Bahamians and residents, there's a lot of concern amongst health officials as it relates to the increase in COVID-19 numbers and hospitalizations. Health Minister Renwood Wells, responding to several large gatherings that went viral on social media held over the Easter holiday weekend, says he saw lots of activities this Easter weekend and told reporters this just ahead of the weekly cabinet meeting this morning.
As you know, this virus has a 14-day incubation period. So when you began to see an uptick, you know that in 14 days, there's the potential for greater numbers. And so we are and have been concerned in health. And we've been reminding the Bahamian people to adhere to the health protocols, especially during the holiday that we just simply went through. There was lots of activity lots and lots of activity. And so we're hoping that at the end of the day, what we saw does not inure to increasing numbers.
Last week, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis urged the public to do their part in keeping COVID-19 health protocols over the 4-day holiday weekend, adding that if this is done, we could have a good Independence holiday and a splendid Christmas season. Asked if he believes the Bahamian people adhered, Minister Wells says this.
As a people, we need to remember that we are still in this fight. We're still in the war. And as the Prime Minister used the analogy of a race, we're in a race. We're in a race to vaccinate our people faster than COVID could spread. And so at every stage, we need to be responsible.
Now, the Ministry of Health is also set to update the nation at a press conference tomorrow on the country's position in the course of efforts to mitigate COVID-19. Asked if the public can expect tougher restrictions, Minister Wells says this.
I wouldn't say that. We're just going to update the nation. We're going to look at where we are in the fight. And then based on those particular numbers, what we're seeing, usually if there's concern, health will then meet with the cabinet of the Bahamas, the competent authority, and then the cabinet of the Bahamas looking at taking into consideration all of the things, the socio-economic conditions we currently have in the country, and the health requirements, and balancing those so that we continue to move our people forward in a progressive way.
So far, have health officials suggested that we tighten up some of our restrictions?
I would simply say that we're going to assess the data. We'll be looking at the data, and obviously the cabinet of the Bahamas, the Prime Minister, would speak to any potential move in future.
The health minister is insisting that the country isn't experiencing a third wave of the virus at this time. I'm Laurencia Smith for JCN News.
In our national COVID-19 update, health officials confirming 7 additional cases of COVID-19 from the 64 RT-PCR tests taken yesterday. 5 confirmed on New Providence, 2 with a history of travel within 14 days, 1 on Grand Bahama and 1 on Abaco. Of those new cases, 1 is a male and the remaining 6 females. According to the Ministry of Health, the national count now stands at 9,270. However, of that count, there are 296 active cases as of Sunday, 38 of which are hospitalized. 35 are considered moderately ill, and 3 are in the intensive care unit at this time. Total recoveries stand at 8,729, and the death toll remains at 189. To date, 78,117 tests have been completed. The vaccination campaign on New Providence and Grand Bahama will resume tomorrow, according to health officials. The administration of the COVID-19 vaccine will continue at Loyola Hall, Gladstone Road, Church of God of Prophecy, East Street, and at the Susan J. Wallace Center on Grand Bahama. The administration of the vaccines continue after a break for observance of Good Friday, Easter Sunday, and the Easter Monday holiday. Health officials say that vaccinations are currently open to healthcare workers, persons 60 years of age and older, and uniformed branches, including the Royal Bahamas Defense and Police Forces, Customs, Immigration, Bahamas Department of Corrections, and COVID ambassadors. A valid work ID indicating proof of occupation and/or proof of age is required at the vaccination center. Persons who do not fall within the above priority groups should not attempt to make an appointment at this time. The National COVID-19 Vaccine Consultative Committee will provide a further update by midweek. The government's unemployment assistance has been extended until the end of this month. Public Service and National Insurance Board Minister Brenzel Roll revealing as much just outside of Cabinet Office this morning.
Government has expended over $150 million on this project so far, and it's roughly costing the government $12 to $15 million a month. And so as soon as persons get back to work, we can divert those funds into some other area.
Now, over the last year, since the pandemic forced a shutdown in the country, NIB has extended the program several times. When the program first started, beneficiaries received about $200. The amount has since been reduced, however, and asked if there will be any national reductions. Minister Rose says this.
The flat rate is $100 per week. We've been consistent with that amount since we moved back from 150. We've not changed that, but there are some industries and some areas where individuals are getting something from their work program, and so we only supplement the difference so that everyone who's in the program will at least get $100 per week for the entire duration of the program.
Asked how long NIB can sustain the program, the minister could not say. However, he responds with this.
I can't tell you that the program can be sustained for a very long time. What I can say, though, that the good thing about the program, it has the capacity and the ability to go thus far. And like I said, if we take and make the special commitment to make sure that we contribute to NIB, then the program will continue to be what it is to the Bahamian population now, a very good program.
Minister Roll did note that the board has seen a decrease in persons seeking benefits. You're watching JCN News. When we return, a man loses his life to gun violence on Easter Sunday, 2 charged for that major drug bust on Eleuthera, and the CDC issues guidelines for cruise sailing. Stay with us.